Please leave a message after the tone.
You got several questions due. Your life is going down the tubes. What do you do when you need advice?
This is where it gets good. Good night.
What am I fighting for?
So turn down the lights, pick up the phone and leave a message for the new
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of Nude Clan After Dark. I am your host, Caleb Schweiss.
Caleb Craig.
Cameron.
And Zach.
And today, guys, I think we have one question on the Skype, and then we also have probably a million questions in the fucking Discord. By the way, join the Discord. It's our pinned tweet on the show's Twitter, my Twitter, which I don't recommend contacting me on because I'm fucking done with that. But the link is there. And join the Discord. I mean, I'm always going to use Discord because, I don't know, I like talking to you guys. I just don't like seeing people's filth. So, yeah, join it. It's, I mean, there's like 100-plus people in there now. It's awesome. There's a lot of good conversations. All the podcasts have their own separate little pages, so regardless of which show you listen to, obviously, if you don't listen to this one, you aren't hearing this, but join it. You can join the discussions. A lot of good stuff. A lot of great people on there. So please do that and give us your questions there or at 385-204-3921. That is our phone line that we pay very dearly for every 3 months. So please consider using that as well so we have to do less talking and more listening because we could all do with a little more listening these days, right? All right, let's see what this listener has to say.
Hey, Nude Clan, it's 84 Extreme. Now, I have a bit of a lead-up to my question here, so just indulge me for a second. So, the Capitol Hill Autonomous Zone, or CHAZ for short, was a really funny, immersive comedy sketch that lasted about 2 days over the past week or so. And for those uninitiated, basically a bunch of communists or socialists or some form of political dissidents took over like 6 blocks of Seattle and turned into basically the launch pad for a communist like regime of some sort. I'm not sure. But basically in that time, meaning 2 days, they invited a bunch of homeless people in who stole all their food, and one of the only guys in there who had guns, I believe, became some sort of warlord. My point being...
Someone's living my dream.
Like, the big question is, everyone in that room, I think except for Zach, has played Conan Exiles, and last I checked, we were able to conquer the exiled lands and escape the exiled lands while managing to share resources. And I guess my big question is there any advice you could give to these young children role-playing out in Seattle as to how to create a sustainable society based on our experiences in Conan Exiles? Now, I am not stunning or brave enough to call our base of operations in the exiled land a communist society, but, you know, like, clearly there's a framework there that we could use to actually, you know, make something work. So what advice would you give them? And if I can get, like, one more piece of selectivism off my chest before I hang up, I just need to say ACAB, which of course stands for All CODs Are Big, and I think we really need to stop Activision from funding so much updates to Call of Duty because Modern Warfare is absolutely ridiculously big. And you know what, guys?
I don't know what.
I think it's better that it just cuts off.
I mean,
you know what else?
that.
You're right, though. All CODs are bastards, dude. I'm sick of this shit. I'm sick of the fucking updates, and I'm sick of like, oh, I should have
What did we not just say last week, guys? But I guess it is funny, you know, at the root of it,
it is funny.
Our exiled land was communist in nature. I mean, it has to be.
Well,
There's no form of wealth or trading or capitalism because they didn't give us a currency yet.
I feel like we should also
I was
make
arguing
it
for
very, very clear that our communist empire within Conan Exiles was run entirely by slaves.
Yeah, so keep that in mind.
No, it wasn't because...
Yes, it was.
No, because you can't tell your slaves to go mine stuff.
I think they're working on that.
Slaves.
And if they get that fuck, dude. I'm back
It's
in.
over. Yeah.
They will just help
We
Bruce.
use
trade
them
routes.
as pack mules for our
Yeah.
stuff.
Look, they can run away at any time.
But a player
No, they
still
can't.
has
They can run away.
They're
player
just programmed
still
not to.
has to go gather the resources, mine it or whatever, brave the exiled lands, bring it back, and then forge it into something. I mean, yeah, you have, a worker there who knows how to do the stuff, but you still have to tell them
Yeah.
while they're to do it.
Also within Conan Exiles, we had a clear enemy, and that was everybody
the game
else.
itself.
Yeah, the game itself.
So it worked just because we all wanted to fucking finish the game. And so we all had to go together, do our dailies, and then bring the resources back, and then get mad at people for stealing your shit because.
Yeah.
But
See,
there's nothing you do about it.
that's the thing, though, Zach. The one problem with Conan Exiles is there is no capitalism.
There is no. I mean,
And
it's exactly
you
what I
kinda-
want there to be.
You can kind
in
of do
Conan.
it, but you can't. At
I
the
want
same
it to be
time.
like
I know, you were
Rust,
going back
where you
to that.
can,
I
where
was
you can
confused
set
for a
up,
second.
where you can set up like a vendor and and have people trade for stuff at a vendor.
Yeah,
that would
it's-
make it so.
That would
beautiful.
make it the greatest game ever made.
Yeah,
but
we just
like
want a little capitalism.
it's missing
It
the
doesn't
one
exist.
thing. Yeah, and it's so close because it's like you can have those star medals, but it's once you have the star medal, then it becomes like you just become a dictator. It's like, well, I don't need to trade with anybody because I'm God now. I have the best weapons in the game. Why would I trade with these
you're
people?
Still gonna. I mean, the resources
kill
for
'em.
explosives are insane, and still a long time to make
Yeah,
explosive.
and
jars
see,
stuff.
even in our
So
even
if you have star metal, you don't want to spend hours gathering.
Yeah,
demon
exactly.
blood and shit
Yeah.
and sulfur.
But maybe demon blood will be the new gold. I don't know. See, that's the thing is like maybe the demon blood, but the thing is once you get
Alchemy
the
base.
once you get to the point where you're harvesting so much demon blood, what else do you need? Because you already have really good armor, really good weaponry. Like, what are you trading for? Fuck, with
It's
the resources that you're too
basically-
lazy to go get.
Yeah, yeah.
So it's a commodity. Then,
Yeah.
so yeah, that's the hard thing though. Is like. There's almost no commodity
And the
base because
only
you can just
thing-
get your ass up there
The
and
only
get it
thing
yourself.
That kept us in line is we all knew each other basically, and there was a respect for each other to gather resources for the community. What you're seeing in this autonomous zone is a whole bunch of people who don't know each other trying to come together into this. What's basically, I mean, they're basically letting them have those 6 blocks. Let's be real here.
If they wanted to
There's
take it back, they could and they
somewhat of a
would.
power vacuum that someone decided to fill, and they're trying to police themselves.
They're
and-
policing themselves while using basically Nerf bullets. Like, I was reading a thing about it, and it's just weird.
I don't know. I saw a video where there's like some rapper guy who's walking around with like an AK-47.
I heard isn't that the one that picture that was doctored by Fox News?
Oh, I don't know.
There was a different
'cause
one
that's
that
the
was
thing that's
doctored by
going on.
Fox News.
Okay.
They were doing a lot of
I haven't
pictures
seen a lot
that
of
they
pictures.
put a dude who's geared out in a whole bunch of scenes. Like it's
Oh.
the same exact dude in a whole bunch of different things, same pose, same everything.
That's
so it's just
funny.
super stupid.
I'm just kind of pissed off that someone's living my dream of becoming a post-apocalyptic warlord.
I just don't
Like-
think that. See,
need to
we
go to
all
Seattle.
knew each other, and so it's not an accurate representation of a community trying to come together and work together.
Yeah.
It's just not going to work.
It's
right
the
now.
same thing that happens with any cause. When it gets too big, when it starts covering too many things, it falls apart. So,
Yeah.
like, their little community thing, it got a little too big. It's not defined whatsoever, so it falls apart. It's
Yeah.
just like
You're always
the-
going to get an asshole who's going to come in and throw a wrench in the plan.
which is going to be me.
Yeah, it's
I'm
just
gonna go
like
up there.
I mean, it's the same thing that happens to any of these big movements. You know, the LGBTQ movement. Like the bigger it gets, the more divided it becomes, and
because
it just
yeah.
dissipates.
It could have been founded on a good idea.
Yeah.
But once you try to open up that good idea to the public and try to put it into action, there's in this way there's just no way for them to take control of the
One thing I
situation.
thought was hilarious was they call it an autonomous zone, but they have like a wish list of things that they need, and I was like, it's not very autonomous now, is it? They're like, things we need: water bottles, deodorant, food. It's like, oh, you're sounding pretty reliant there. I don't know how autonomous we're really being.
I feel like the most magical thing that we've missed is they invited the homeless people in and they stole all their food.
Yeah.
Fuck yeah, man! Like, I'm all for that. You
Did
gotta
they steal
survive.
the homeless people's food, or the homeless
The
people?
homeless people stole their food
Oh, see, because they're
because
already
they're pussies and they don't have real guns.
Yeah,
They're
yeah.
just like, don't steal from me, and it's like, no.
See,
It's like, sorry, there's no
communism can't
law.
work because people suck.
Here's the thing, man. Like, here's the thing:
Yeah.
the homeless people.
That's the law of humanity.
Those homeless people
I
are
mean,
hardened.
It'd be hard
in my
for
life.
it'd be hard for like a whole bunch of I don't know who's trying to run it, but to trying to make a communist autonomous zone as we see they're trying to do. I just don't know how effective that'll be in the long run, because
Yeah,
you're
you
going to
have
get people in there that are going to try to mess it up.
Yeah.
And how are you going to enforce your rules
with Nerf bullets.
Yeah.
without fights breaking out? There's got to
Right.
be people who respect the rules that you're
But it comes-
living in,
it-
and I'm pretty sure you're going to find people willing to LARP with you in communism, but there's going to be people who are not willing to play.
But I mean,
Yeah.
they're not going to be willing to work. Like the
Communism.
thing is, like a communist society, like it,
I mean, it's
it
a
runs
great
by
example.
people working.
It's a great example, or a great. If they do this right, this could be a great demonstration of how a community like that could work.
Yeah.
And right now, there's a wrench in what they're trying to do, just because
I mean,
you
that's
you get people in there who are going to disrupt the flow.
Yeah, that's the problem with it. Is it only works if everyone agrees, and not everyone's going to agree, so it's not going to work.
Yeah.
So if it's like an autonomous zone or whatever, like
There
is it-
needed to be more structure in place before they decided to make an autonomous zone.
Yeah.
Well, here the thing is, like they're saying, like there's like sentences like, oh, like leaving the U.S. or whatever. So does that mean by definition, can the U.S. send their own military in and be like,
I mean, they'll probably send in the
we're
National Guard
taking your
eventually.
country. Like,
Yeah, well,
Well,
that's
here there's oil there.
yeah,
No, so you can't just take a plot of land and say this is no longer the U.S.
yeah. That's technically
that's not true because there's a place across the lake that this. Okay, I mean, he bought it. So I guess you are right, but he bought it and it's like called like Zach something. And so my people at work show me, but it's like this like whole area, but it's like it's considered its own country.
Yeah,
So I'm gonna find the guy and I'm gonna destroy him so I can take my country back.
yeah. I mean, technically, that is against the law, like against the Constitution. You're not allowed to have an
you're not allowed
autonomous
to,
country
you're
within.
not allowed to secede.
So, like, California could secede, but like Utah couldn't because it's in the middle of the country. It's kind of the idea.
Fuck you guys.
Because like you can't have a country inside of another country. That's just
mean, yeah.
fucking retarded. Like the sound of that is just insane.
It's Inception. It's a dream.
It's like,
within a dream.
well, we're just gonna take it back because we
And
have you
Utah-
surrounded.
Utah doesn't have
everywhere.
Utah's too reliant on the
Utah
rest of
has-
the country to have its own strong enough economy.
Utah has God and anime on its side.
Whereas California has,
Well, yeah, we need
Huge
resources
industry.
for like water mostly.
yeah.
Yeah, California has a lot of fruit and shit. Because,
Well, they have
And
they have a
vegetables.
huge part
Yeah.
of shipping too. Like a lot of the stuff that we need, inside the U.S. comes through California,
Right to the point.
and
Yeah.
they have a lot of the tech companies there too that bring in a huge part of their GDP. California and Texas both could, and New York could secede and still have a huge.
I don't know.
amount of
I don't
income.
know how well they would do though.
You know who would really fuck up this communist LARPing? Nordheimer 3.
Yeah, Nordheimer 3 would. She's not a fan of communism. She'll kill you. It's a reference to the game. Craig and I had this
Look,
fucking
I'm all
bot that
about
would just
I'm
fuck
all
us.
about experiments and trying to see how things would last, but I don't think that they set it up correctly for the autonomous zone. There's this they didn't have a way to enforce
Yeah,
their rules.
yeah. I mean, the
I don't
rules-
think they're terrorists
Because they're
like Trump is
LARPing.
saying. I don't think.
Right,
I
but
think
he
it's just
throws that
people.
word out a lot, too.
well, he's desensitizing us to the word. But I just think that there could have been a more efficient way to set it up. I mean, I don't know what way that would be. That's a lot of planning and that you'd have to do to go into it. And I think that this was just a reactionary thing. People's like, oh, let's just set up our own grid.
Yeah, it's
And
just
kick the government out,
it's just-
and then the government in Seattle respected that and haven't intervened yet.
Well, because
Yeah.
they're like, oh, the kids are playing. I don't need to bother them. It's not dinner time yet.
Yeah,
Let
but
them
see, the hard
play in
thing
the
is
yard.
it's cutting people off from like their businesses and places that they own. And
Yeah,
it's
that's
these
true.
useless commie cunts taking it over. And so it's like, yeah, I don't think so. But Seattle's government's letting them do it because they're lazy and useless.
You know what they could use? They could use an emissary, someone to go in between to help trade to make money.
Yeah. So I
and
mean,
bring a little capitalism to
they
their
have
lives.
nothing to trade.
yeah, they're
True.
useless people. So I mean, that's why they had to take something instead of
Oh, bro, if I had my business in an
Building it
autonomous
themselves.
zone and I went in there and like I was like missing like shit, like food or like
Yeah, I would-
supplies,
I would go
I
off,
would start
dude.
beating the
I
shit
could
out of
see
some commie
it more
bastards.
or less being a protected zone for people to go hide when they're going to be arrested for protesting.
Yeah.
A place to go get treated and have some food and go back out for
But-
protesting. But it's not going to be a
See,
independent.
the
state.
hilarious thing is that no one up there is going to do that anyway because they've kowtowed to these things in the past over and over and over and over and over again in like Portland and in New California up there. They've never
There was
stopped
a lot
any of
of
this.
Wasn't there like a huge thing in Seattle? With
Yeah,
its
there
riders?
was a big Antifa thing like years ago even, and they said they're not gonna do
Well,
anything.
didn't they crack down on riders recently, which is why they made the
They might
autonomous
have.
zone?
They
So-
might have. Yeah. So maybe it isn't as they're not as lenient as they once were. But I don't know.
Writing has been a huge part of U.S. history and U.S. culture too. Like, this is not unusual, but I think it is unusual where a group of people have declared an autonomous zone.
Yeah, that's pretty crazy.
I don't know if I've heard anything about that before.
Yeah, I've heard people trying to secede from the Union, but yeah.
I mean, like, throwing up in the middle of the fucking city is a stupid idea, too. Like, if you don't want people to fuck with you, like, why aren't you going out closer to the Canadian border?
just go buy your own land. That's the thing.
Yeah,
It's like you can
exactly.
make this, but that's what makes it so
That becomes
insidious.
a con.
How does that differentiate between a militia owning some land and becoming a far right militia type of thing, and now
It's a line.
a
It's a
far
very-
left militia.
It's a very thin
thing.
line.
There's no far left. It's just a bunch of hippies.
That's no. I mean, if you have an autonomous zone, you bring in guns and weapons to
Well,
enforce
see,
your own rules.
here's
You're
what I'm
basically
s-
creating.
You get shake with her.
I'm saying it's fine if it's on your land, but none of them. That's not what it is.
Yeah, they
it's
don't
in the
own
middle
it.
of the fucking city, so it's
Yeah.
ridiculous. Like
Yeah, I mean,
it's ludicrous.
Within
Like,
as things
fuck-
start to quiet down, I think they're probably waiting on them to just disperse themselves. But if it comes to it, I'm pretty sure they'll
They'll
send in
force
the
them
National
out,
Guard,
especially
yeah.
with people that like need to get to their workspaces. Or it's
Yeah.
like, hey, like this is my property. I've paid this. This is bullshit, and I understand that. Like, I don't know people like doing a thing like, oh, it's you're doing like goods over lives, and it's like, no, it's like it's my stuff. Like if someone breaks into my house, like you try to steal my shit, like
you're done. Yeah,
you're done. I'm not going to sit there and allow that.
Yeah, let's just
Like at that point, you're putting my
let's-
family in danger.
it's a good idea. Your autonomous zone. Now just go find a plot of land and start.
Go
your
build it
Exactly,
yourself.
yeah.
community.
And see, that's what makes these things so irritating to me is because it's not, they're like, oh, well, it's about us coming together. It's like, no, it's about you taking something and then taking the high ground and saying, now we can do it ourselves. And if you don't like it, you're just, a dick. And it's like, no, I don't like it because you took my shit.
But what is more communist than coming in and taking someone else's shit? and
Exactly.
claiming it yours?
Yeah. That is the whole point. Yeah, you're right. You're right. So maybe it's inevitable. They can't do their own area.
I'm just surprised Bernie Sanders hasn't gone over there and declared himself king of the dumbasses.
yeah.
I endorse chess.
We're
Yeah.
treading
We're getting
dangerously to the politics.
We're
line
getting
on
back
this
to
one.
where we said we wouldn't last time.
True. Anyway, yeah, Conan Exiles. If I had gave them,
So there is no way you can take what we did in Conan Exiles and
There's
apply it
no-
to
The hard thing, though, is even in Exiles, we started becoming tribal, and we started like, okay, look, because remember when there were certain people who joined, and Cameron was like, he saw a guy running around with his armor, he waved at him, and then the guy ran off, and Cameron was pissed. And like, it became a thing where we were like, we had our own secret stashes, and like, someone had like, he's like, hey, don't take anything from the top of the pyramid, that's mine. That's so even
the whole
in the
fucking
exiled
pyramid
lands,
is mine. I built that shit.
even in the exiled lands,
hey, this is communism.
I
We
don't.
built it.
I
we became
know.
protective.
That is my land.
Cameron did build it himself, like completely by himself. But
And
see,
then
that's the
we
thing is
took
we're
it.
all a group, and that's why it almost didn't even work in Conan Exiles
Should have
because we were
charged
like,
people,
And that's why we
to,
keep wanting
to ride my
to
elevator.
split up into smaller tribes and go to war with each other because that
Yeah.
sounds like a lot of fun. So we didn't have a perfect socialist commune.
You're getting
in
real Republican
Exiles.
real fast.
Okay, I'm not. I believe I'm entitled to my own work. Okay.
No, I meant like starting like getting like little tribes and making them war with
Oh,
each
that
other.
just sounds like fun. That's just us making a multiplayer game.
That's jumping up the FBI's alley. Is what that is. Like,
I don't. So I guess we need to understand, do a deeper dive into what communism would look like, because I do believe I could work to help better society and have my work help others, but I want to own the work I do for myself.
so you want to be a capitalist?
I want to be able to build something and have that thing I built to be mine.
Exactly.
And if I provide
Yeah.
a service,
And there's
I
nothing
want
wrong with that.
to be
Yeah.
compensated for it.
The problem is there's people that don't want to do work and they go, "Well, I'm entitled to yours because of this," and it's like
Yeah.
that's not true. That's not how it fucking works.
the best part that I like is when I argue with people about like, well, like what if I work an extra 10 hours a week for my whole life, like shouldn't my kids get reap the benefits of my duty? And they're like, well, why do they have any right to that? And I'm like, well, why do
It's
you
like-
have any right to it, you fuck?
I don't know
Like,
if this
it's
is
like-
a perfect, symbolic thing of it, but it's like renting an apartment versus owning a house, where your money you're throwing to someone else's thing, you're allowed to live there, versus you owning a house and the money you throw at it's to you owning it.
Yeah. And I mean, look, one of them's been great, and the other one's not so much.
With you going back to what you were saying about like the whole like the kids deserving like the money or whatever. It's like in like when someone dies and I like the house is going to my kids. The government's like, okay, well you got to buy it from us. And that's like why?
Yeah, it's bullshit.
That's fucking stupid. Like I just put all this. Yeah, and that thing is like. Yeah,
And
you have to show that you've like bought the house. So like,
Yeah.
I've like people are like, oh hey, like here's this money right here. Like, oh I paid like
Yeah.
$300 for that.
And it's like I see where they're coming from
Okay.
because it's the same argument as like we're all lucky because we were born in the U.S. Like it's not like we just happen to be lucky and that's where we're born, right? It's just like we could have been born in another country. I mean, not technically, but like philosophically, we lucked out. But at the same time, it's like, yeah, you lucked out, but where does it end? Like, how much of that needs to be destroyed and like brought down to the bare minimum before these people are happy? And the answer is it never ends because there is a certain set of people that don't want to do anything for themselves and they expect it to be done for them, and they're never going to be satisfied.
So there's the Echo series to the Wheel of Time, the Sword of Truth series, where they basically have these, this empire, giant empire, war with what I guess is Great Britain or Britain, something like that, where the author explores the evils of communism in a way by taking the hero of the story and putting him into the middle of this country where it's a socialist thing, and then he slowly shows them the evils of communism, how he can amass wealth in this communist society type of thing, which is interesting. If you guys ever want to read it, I think that was the Naked Empire, the book name in that series. Where he comes in, brings in art, brings in life, brings in the example of bettering your community for yourself, and then you are entitled to your own proceeds type of thing. So interesting take on it, but it's very much him trying to tear down communism. So
yeah, I don't know, and I think it works in very small groups as long as everyone's on board, and that's the hard thing.
That's the hard thing with communism is you need someone in charge of it, and how do you check them to make sure they're not abusing the power?
That's the
Well, there's no checks
be
and
like a
balances.
small village and have like the mayor be in charge, and then you just like change it out every couple of years.
Yeah, but see, that's the hard thing is like what Zach said. There's no checks
What
and
would you
balances.
say
Right,
is
we
the
give the
perfect-
chancellor emergency powers, and he becomes the emperor.
What would you say is a perfect example of communism in history? Like, what do we have that shows how communism will work?
I don't know. I think
Well, I mean, if you look at the
We have
the
tons
the
of
whole,
bad
with the
examples.
yeah, that's the thing is it's bad.
But is there a
examples.
good example?
no, I don't think there
No,
is.
I mean, because they go, there hasn't really been. Oh, that's social.
And then people are
really
saying
been-
capitalism is now in like it's late stage capitalism, whereas before it would work,
Dude.
but now it doesn't work.
People that say late stage capitalism, every time I hear that, I imagine like khakis that like cut off at the shins, and they're sitting in a fucking Starbucks all day. It's like it's one of those terms that I'm just like, God, shut the fuck up.
I mean, I understand how there are large corporations that are amassing wealth that's not doing anything. I don't like that, but I don't think we need to tear down capitalism to fix that.
Well, these people are they're just dumb. They're just uninformed. They have no
I'm just saying,
historical background.
I'm willing to participate in an example for myself to see whether or not I like it and if it would work.
Yeah, that'd be cool. I mean,
Let's go start a communist summer camp and see how that works.
yeah,
A summer camp.
Communist summer camp.
comic camp. Send the kids.
And then let's just do a social experiment. Like, could we effectively do that? And how would it look in America? I don't think it would work in the long run, personally. But
Yeah,
it's just like America itself is so different and divisive. I don't think all of us would succeed in a communist environment.
I don't think
I
so.
think Liberty Prime said it best when better dead than red.
Which Transformer was Liberty Prime?
No, that's
okay.
He's Optimus's like grandfather.
yeah,
he's Optimus's Echo Fighter.
Than red. Just dies.
yeah. I don't know, and that's the thing is it's so.
But that could just be
As he
my
launches
upbringing and
nukes.
conditioning. To
I don't
think
know, though,
a
because
certain way.
you
I just
can-
don't know. I mean, The autonomous zone is not a perfect example of what communism would look like. There was no forethought.
No,
into
but
it.
they'll say it is because they're like, we're so
Well,
smart.
then they'd
They're
be
not.
stupid to say it is because it's not working.
It doesn't matter though. They don't
They don't
see
care.
it.
Do you think they use logic? Any of them?
Yeah,
Any one of them?
Cameron,
do you think they
like
use logic?
if you look
I don't
at
think
if you look at the statistics since like the West's ideas have spread to the rest of the world, people are living longer. People are not in
Craig,
abject poverty.
Why
like,
didn't you shut this down?
If you look at it, you can see the
this
evidence.
is a monster of your own making.
You can see the evidence that our system is
We're not
at
doing
least the
politics
best
anymore.
that
Right.
exists because people are living longer. There's less disease. There's less
to warn
destruction. People are richer.
That's what we need to do.
I'm not saying there are not issues that need to be fixed
Exactly,
with our
yeah.
capitalism, but I don't think communism is the answer.
Yeah, so that's where we all agree. There's problems. Everyone thinks there's problems. Nothing's perfect. It's
But
the
communism
idea.
is definitely not the answer.
You see people taking advantage of the autonomous zone, just like people would take advantage of a communist system. It's
Yeah,
just-
and I don't think just because there are problems with it, we should. And here's the thing that I don't get: people are like, "Oh, well, people are trampled upon by by capitalism." It's like, look at the history of the world. The history of the world is one of desperation
people-
and despair
well,
and death.
If people with power trample on people without power.
And
it
we're
doesn't
doing,
matter the type
yeah,
of government.
and we're doing way less of that now. So shut the fuck up.
But see, I think
that's
like,
my thing.
the
It's
same
so fucking
people,
annoying.
The same people that say, "Oh, capitalism doesn't work and it's taking advantage of me," are the same people that have no fucking life skills.
Yeah, and it's like you
It's
have a
the same
fucking
people
iPhone.
that aren't giving out.
Fuck you. Like you have so much fucking money and you're just an ingrate about it. It's so
Yeah.
fucking maddening.
Well, I think it comes from a lot of people that don't actually work.
bootstraps
What I've
argument.
seen, it's from people who haven't had to actually work.
Yeah, because
for what
they're
they have.
fucking
It's like-
lazy and all they
it's-
can sit around
yeah.
and think about how they're owed these things. It's so ridiculous.
Like you can say whatever. Like there's obviously like both sides. There's always going to be
There's
people
both
that are
sides
like.
to the conversation.
But like for me, like
This is why we
I can't imagine not working
We need
or
to take
something.
this to a hog party.
Yeah.
We should not be doing this.
Yeah.
right.
And that's the thing, though. Like what Cameron was saying, like it doesn't matter how much evidence you show these people, they don't believe because it's a religion. It's the lack of the downfall of God itself has brought up these ideologies, and they're almost followed religiously. I'm serious. Like
Well, he's got a point. 'Cause if you look at the Republican Party now, it's basically a cult.
I
when it's
just
around Trump.
think
Like,
it's people.
Everyone's
who,
going to latch on to something because God is dead.
There's a certain type of, I guess, a personality that needs to latch on to something.
and the same with the woke culture. No, I think everyone needs to latch on to something. If you look at the woke culture, it's the same thing. They treat it just like a religion. They look at what happened to like Drew Brees. The guy said he doesn't agree with people like kneeling for the
I'm
flag
not
because of
latched
his
on
family.
to anything. Maybe that's my problem. I don't
Because
have any-
he-
The only thing I
any
like to latch on to is titties.
He said,
Yeah.
the guy said he doesn't agree. He'll never agree with people
Cam would
kneeling.
latch onto some thighs.
Right, and I saw
Oh,
that
no,
too.
no. The
and I
thighs
think
latch
like
onto
with
me.
people getting mad about that, it gets to the point of like, well, he has the right to his opinion.
But see, here's the thing, though. He apologized, and they said it's not good enough.
yeah,
And so it's just like a religion, and they have to have their heretics. They have to have the ones that they will never forgive, and that they're always going to be. It's crazy, and we're tribal by nature, and it doesn't matter whether you go to church or whether you believe in all this crazy like left wing stuff or all this crazy right wing stuff. Like you have to have something that fills that void, and I think that's what we're seeing these days. We're seeing people filling that void with forcing people to apologize for not being okay with people disrespecting
think-
the flag or like vice versa or whatever. It just seems like a giant religion to me, and it's crazy because they're the same people that shit on religion, but it's like, well, you guys are kind of doing
well,
the same
I
thing.
think like that's a really good like.
Colin Kaepernick is just your god instead.
Well,
Like,
it looks
it's fucking
your outlook on that, like I think, is really good with like the whole tribal thing because like it went from back in like the 50s, 40s, 50s, 60s, whatever, and 70s until like internet came out. It was your community was your tribe, and like where you grew up was your tribe. But now because we have the internet and everything's so spread out and everything's so connected, your tribe isn't necessarily where you're at. Your tribe is whoever agrees with you. And that's why these people are meeting in certain ways. And it's like, well, this person thinks this. And it's like, no matter how fucking stupid your opinion is, it's, oh, that person thinks about it. So there's a tribe right there. And I think you latch on to like what you're saying about latching on is you just, things grow. And because like we're in such a big
I'm
information highway,
directionless in life. I have nothing to latch on to.
do titties.
I just need a teat.
always point towards
I need
truth.
a teat to latch onto and suckle to have opinion on.
You know what?
Something.
Lady Liberty, man. Suckle on that tit.
yeah.
I am a firm believer in America. I'm not one of those people who
Yeah.
hate what's going on and I'm going to leave America or tear down the whole system. I believe that we have. I mean, it's going to be hard, especially with how things are set up right now. But if you are upset, then you should work to change things. That's why
Exactly.
I'm upset about what has recently gone on, and I think there's things we need to do to fix it. I'm not just going to say it. I want to participate locally.
Well, you're
that's
gonna
that's
vote.
the
You're
thing.
gonna do shit like
well,
that.
I'm not just going to vote.
But I mean,
I'm
like, you're going to do
participate
shit like
in
that. That's where it
communities,
starts. Voting is starting.
I will vote, but I also want to do things in my own community to help better the lives of
The
people
Rock
in my
2020.
community.
Yeah. I don't think he's ready to be hated by half the country, but
He won't
when
be.
he does, he's going to win.
Rock 2020 and Terry Crews. I'm voting for them. I'm writing them in.
I know. I love how Joe was like, they're going to be on opposite tickets. I'm like, no, they're going to be on the same one.
Yeah, dude.
They're going to be like the middle road. Awesome.
They're the dream team.
Yeah, they would tear it up.
As they're both like titty dancing. Like, it's beautiful. It's something that I want to see as an American citizen.
I would say they would arm wrestle, but I think Terry Crews
We
would have a hard
voted.
time.
We voted in us. What is it? A reality celebrity as president. Why not action stars?
And we voted in a B-list actor twice.
Okay, so see, there you go.
Yeah, we could do it.
That's what I'm
And,
saying.
I mean, Arnold Schwarzenegger was the last Republican governor of California. Like, that's a big deal. That was in like 2000.
True, and he
You
you know
got
what? True.
reelected.
That's true. So you know
We
what?
need these celebrities, these beefcake celebrities.
These
That's what we need.
beefcakes.
if you're built, you can be on that
Oh,
side.
I just
Gina-
don't, I just
Gina
don't want
Carano.
to see what
I will vote for
terms would
Gina
do.
Carano.
2 terms of governing this nation. I just want to know what that would do to both
As-
Oh,
The
man,
Rock
yeah.
and
As long-
Terry
Too
Crews.
bad
As-
Arnold isn't an American. So
I
we could
know.
have presidential Conan.
For The Rock, as long as he can be president and film the Shazam sequel, I'm okay.
Conan
with it.
is in charge.
Yeah.
Oh man, what was
Sort
that
of
movie?
Kronk.
What was
we
that?
just have to be like Arnold. We
What
need
was that
you
movie
to run
called
the
where-
country as
Where this
Conan.
average man is transported into the future and the president is some wrestling star. What's that movie?
I think it's.
That could be our future.
I can't remember. Joe loves that movie though. I know that.
That, I mean, if we vote
It's
these
the.
guys
It's
in,
the. It's the.
it'd be a funny.
I
parody.
think I've only seen the picture. It's like the black dude with like the machine gun, like on the podium. He's giving a speech. It's like it's like it's not. It's something. It's like a play on one a word. I can't remember what it is, but that's the only image I've ever seen. It's like an American flag, and he's got like a fucking AK-47 or something. He's like firing it off at his speech. I almost want to say Religulous, but that's the Bill Maher movie. It's
Yeah, I
something
wanna
like
watch
that.
it
It's like a
again.
play on
It's
words.
been a long time.
I think Joe just answered it.
It is played by Terry Crews. Yeah, you're right. He is in that fucking movie. He's the president.
God damn, this needs to happen.
Yes!
This needs to happen.
Jesus Christ.
It's
Jason Bourne.
Idiocracy. That's what it is.
Idiocracy.
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 Is that seriously Terry Crews in that thing?
Teddy Cruz.
Teddy Crews. Yeah. It's the Milano cousin of fucking.
Hey, no, if they're going to be in it, we should make a new Mount Rushmore with The Rock.
On top
Terry
of all
Crews.
of the other ones. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a 2006 film.
Yeah, dude. I
Yeah,
agree.
Terry Crews is the president.
Okay, good. I was like, fuck, did I get that wrong? It's like, so
Sure,
there's
it's not the
three.
Allstate guy.
So there's 3 black guys now. There's Allstate guy, Terry Crews, and everyone else that's not those 2.
God damn it.
The world has discovered its third black guy.
I'm ahead of Japan. They only know of 2. They only know of Mr. T and Denzel Washington. I think that's who Saz is based off of in
My
13. You got to be A.
I feel like they
Plus,
also
plus,
know
plus.
Barack Obama.
Probably. They don't have him in a game though. I don't know if you can call it discovered until he's in a game.
Oh, we should get like a fighting game that's like the presidents and shit.
Oh, that'd be sweet.
Yeah, up to Trump. So like it's now and it'd just be funny.
And then just DLC for the new ones, whatever
Yeah,
happens
Trump,
in the future.
Oh man.
Oh, and they get alternate costumes only if they were reelected second term.
alternate costumes.
Fighter costume, yeah.
No, I think they should get alternate costumes so like Obama and Trump can have like their like golfing gear or whatever, and like you can get like a MAGA hat for Trump and it like gives him like
Extra powers.
Yeah,
against
like a boost.
against minorities.
Yeah, it's like Washington. You like have to like find his wooden teeth, but you can upgrade his teeth to like metal ones.
Oh yeah, there you go. Fuck, dude, that's such a fucking good idea. Why don't we have a presidential fighter game?
I think we kind of did.
I mean,
back in the Bush era, we had like a Flash.
Oh yeah, that game
fighter
was awesome.
Yeah.
But he was like a. I remember the one where you were shooting people,
No, there was
like a White House takeover.
There was and I think there is a new fighter game too that someone was designing.
maybe there's Shaq Fu There's if you get the physical version, you can play as Barack Obama.
Oh wow.
It's a side scroller beat 'em up, so I guess that's like the closest.
Yeah. So I agree with Cameron though. I think we have a pretty great system. You can look at the evidence, but some people don't care about that. They're just crazy. That's what I'm saying. Like that's why it's religious, is because you'll show them a fact that disproves everything they're standing for, and they won't believe it. They'll say no, and that's what makes it religious, because it's beyond logic, like what Cameron was saying before. It's beyond statistical evidence. But I agree. I think
2020 Path to Presidency on Steam. Andrew Yang is unstoppable on his path to presidency.
What does that say?
Yeah, it's a
I have an
fighting
interesting
game.
gaming question for you guys.
Yeah, Yang
What?
2020 is on Steam.
It's a fighting game?
Yeah, play through all the ups and downs of his campaign journey to battle the other candidates, naysayers, and of course President
Bro,
Trump.
you fight you'd fight
But
Bernie
is all the
Sanders.
presidents in there?
I don't know.
It's probably just he was trying to be elected, but you'd fight Bernie Sanders, and like he would steal, because he's communist, he'd steal like your life as you kept fighting him. Like you'd lose life, and you just keep gaining years.
he'd have like a blood suck
A
ability.
new video
Yeah,
game that lets you fight as 2020 election frontrunners. Oh shit, he looks like Tien.
Dude, that is TN. Where's his third eye?
Yeah, hit us with that question. We have probably
Yeah,
enough time
it's
to answer it.
Yang 2020.
But yeah, I agree with Cameron. I think there's evidence enough that our system is, at least the ideas behind our system are the best that we've had, and we should preserve and repair and improve over
I mean,
time.
it might just be the system that I know that I'm comfortable with, but I want to see working examples before I'm going to throw my hat into another ring.
yeah.
I think there's huge changes that need to be made to our current system, but for the most part, it has been working. We just got a question on the chat.
All right, so
I would love to have a presidential fighting game, though. It'd be great.
I mean, Yang
There'd be
2020, you can play it on Steam right now.
fucking characters, though. So it'd have to be like Smash
And one of them
Bros.
looks like Tien.
all right, so he says Ghost of Tsushima is coming out in July, and I'm not worried about the game because it's based on historical events, mainly Mongolia and the Mongol Empire. I'm very worried because how are the developers going to portray them? Are they going to go all full out on Fury, or are they going to hold back and make them cartoonish villains like in Mulan? They're going to go full out. I mean, obviously.
I mean, they're most likely going to portray them as the badasses that they are.
I mean, the Mongols in Mulan are pretty badass. Like they just raised that village. Like
Yeah, they fucking burned
I
that
know it's
shit.
just cartoony, but they fucked people up. And he was gonna kill the emperor. Like he was there.
Yeah, he was going to fucking destroy him. Like,
Yeah.
nobody could
Too
stop that
sweet.
guy.
And we already know they lost, so, you know.
Right.
You can make them as crazy as you want.
Yeah.
I'm
I'm
excited
sure
for them.
they were in real life too. They were probably like, yeah, so might as well.
They tried to take Japan, but I don't think they... Oh, they got fucked by the weather. That's what happened.
Well,
like, the
and the
storms
Gundams.
destroyed them.
Yeah.
And Godzilla.
Yeah, it was
Yeah,
funny
and
how every
Godzilla.
time they tried to go to Japan, it was just a storm after storm.
Yeah, and it killed, like, tons of their dudes.
They tried to get in there and it's weeaboo's like, ooh, and they just started
I
dying.
mean, they probably could have made an impact on Japan if they didn't keep having their armies swept undersea.
Yeah.
It's just because their style of fighting was
so brutal.
hit and run. No,
Yeah.
it was just, get your bowmen on horses and then shoot at their line and then run away.
I think Japan would have a really hard time with that back in the day.
I mean, a lot of people
Question
have a hard
is
time
just
with
a
that.
stamp.
I think they would have a real hard time because they're, like, all about the honor and, like, it's more intimate with the fighting.
I mean, if you're just
So-
thinking about samurai and then the honor of the blade and stuff like that,
But,
maybe.
all
but
Japan, but it's Japanese culture thing. That's why like seppuku is like a big thing. Is because they're all into like it's
but
honor.
that, so there was
you fucking read
you need
Musashi.
to right. But one thing you need to realize is Japan went through a phase of samurai schooling and honor and bringing that stuff back in like the late 1800s 1900 era. That was like a more recent thing that's now persisted into pop culture, whereas before they were more feudal and stuff like that.
Yeah, which would
At the
make
time
it,
the Mongols, they weren't like that.
that might make it even easier for them to get taken over because they're fighting amongst themselves. But I don't know.
I mean, there
we'll
was a
never know.
constant power struggle between the warlord or samurai, the military capital versus the
emperor.
the emperor
Yeah.
capital.
Yeah,
and that
the-
would go back and forth for so long.
The shogunates and the emperors. The shoguns had more power almost than the emperor.
and then there was like
technically,
like it's surprisingly like how the culture, the fighting culture of Japan was more recent in comparison to like that part of history. There was people wanting to go back to that had a resurgence.
So I guess it would depend on what time they hit them,
Yeah.
And if they hit them with a bit
I
hard
mean,
enough.
we can know what was going on in Japan at that time. We can just see what era or what dates that the Mongols tried to invade.
Dude, this is an everything
I think
show.
they
Slaughter
said
Kitty.
exactly
Yeah.
what time it was. It's on a specific island, so it's like I think one of the plot points is that the guy your main character has to kind of decide whether or not he throws away honor to like kill them in some specific way or something. I can't remember
Yeah.
what I was reading about it, but
Hey, we'll play it soon, though.
Yeah, Ghost of Tsushima
I mean,
looks fucking
it seems like they're
rad.
gonna make the Mongolians fucking brutal if he has to like choose between honor and fucking them over.
Dude, a DLC character for that should be the Chinese dude from South Park.
Every time a hard-looking
damn
Chinese man
Mongolians,
try to
it
build
would
a
be
wall,
so
the Mongolians gotta come and knock it down.
They take my shitty rice, my shitty beef. It'd be funny. I would play that game every day.
Yeah.
Every day.
Welcome to She Walk, man. Take an order, please.
Dude, South Park's beautiful. I don't care. I'm excited to see the next season of South Park just because of what the fuck's going on right now.
Oh.
It's gonna be beautiful.
Oh, jeez.
Can't wait. Yeah. Always classic. All right. I think that's it. You guys got anything else?
No,
That's very, very non.
And we mean it this time. We're not doing politics on the show ever again. Please vote for the Hog Party 2020 if you want us to talk about politics
Right.
on a different platform, different show that's separated from this.
Yeah. Yeah.
Here we talk about games and your needs.
And if you didn't
and your
listen-
advice needs, yeah.
To like the last episode of After Dark, then like go listen to that because we won't explain it again. But like, yeah, listen to that
We're
if you're
here for
confused of why we're not doing politics
sexual
anymore.
healing.
That's definitely one to go listen to. Just educate yourself.
Yeah. Do your research. Do your research.
I hate that.
I know.
Such a fucking deflect.
I mean, watch YouTube videos.
Yeah, what it means is do the research that I did. That's what it means. It means look at the exact things that I... Anyway, fuck that. 385-204-3921. That's where you guys can leave us your voicemails for the show. You can also go to our Discord channel, pinned in our Twitters, the @Nude Klein Podcast and @UFF Podcast. Those both have that as the pinned tweet. You can join us there. Get us your questions in written form if you don't like hearing your own voice. That's another way to do it. So, guys, until next time, we'll see you next time.
Mankind has always been the poison.
Give up on yourselves. Give up on the world.
Every puzzle has an answer.
Dumbass. Kick logic out and do the impossible. Remember that.
I'm glad I met you guys. You made me pick up on things I probably would have just gone on ignoring.
Don't believe in yourself. Believe in me. Believe in the Kamina who believes in you. Everybody deals with grief differently, right? Some people fuck at funerals. I cut off heads.